Week 12 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few tight ends. I have as sleeper options this week. The first tight end, Ja'Tavion Sanders for the Carolina Panthers. I mentioned Sanders a lot over the last few weeks, where he's definitely emerging as a good target in the offense for Carolina. Out there in 96% of fantasy leagues. This week it's a matchup where they're going to be chasing points the whole game pretty much, with the Kansas City Chiefs coming to town. And believe it or not, the Chiefs, who have a great defense, do give up the fourth most fantasy points to tight ends on the season. So the last few weeks for Sanders, he's actually gone out there and been pretty productive in PPR leagues. Week 7 at the Commanders, 6 catches, 61 yards. Week 8 at Denver, a catch, 7 yards. Week 9 versus Saints, 4 catches, 87 yards. And Week 10 versus Giants, I know it was 2 catches, 8 yards, and a touchdown in Germany, but he was short at the goal line of a second touchdown. So he's a big target. He's been an impressive rookie for the most part, is Sanders. And they're obviously going with the youth movement over here is Carolina, where they're out of it at 3-7, and they traded some pieces off at the NFL trade deadline. So Sanders, the last couple weeks, like I said, he's gone out there. He's actually been pretty decent, and this week he's a sleeper option. Next tight end, Adam Troutman of the Denver Broncos. So Troutman, we've seen a couple decent games out of him, and this week it's a good matchup and a 1-week use streaming option only at the Vegas Raiders. I give up the most fantasy points to tight ends on the season. So the best game for Troutman was going back to Week 8 this year. 4 catches, 85 yards, a touchdown. Then Week 9 at Baltimore, catch 4 yards. Week 10 at the Chiefs, a catch, 34 yards. Last week he had a goose egg on 1 target. So this week, like I said, I'm just going off the matchup, and he's a deep sleeper anyway, available in 99% of fantasy leagues. This Bronco offense has definitely been better over the last few weeks. Bo Nix is spreading the football out, and maybe Troutman could surprise in this one. And if you need a desperation sleeper, he's one this week. And the final tight end I have as a sleeper is Luke Schoonmaker of the Dallas Cowboys. So Jake Ferguson in concussion protocol. I don't believe he's going to be cleared in time after the game was on Monday night and to be cleared for Sunday. And Schoonmaker, he got to start early in the season with this Dallas Cowboy team, and he had a pretty decent game in Week 2 versus the Saints. 6 catches, 43 yards. And then last week, coming in relief for Ferguson, left early with the concussion, 6 catches, 56 yards on 10 targets. So this is going to be a game, once again, I believe Dallas is down early and often, and they got to chase points the whole game at this Washington Commander team. And Schoonmaker's a big target. And like I said, I know they threw the football 45, 50 times last week was Dallas, and I believe that's going to be the number once again at the Commanders. So Schoonmaker, big target. He's got good yard after catch ability, and to get 10 targets last week definitely isn't fluky. So this week I think he's a decent sleeper option, available in 97% of fantasy leagues. That's a few tight ends I have as sleepers for Week 12 of the fantasy football season.